In the history of jungles, lions have ruled and elephants have commanded respect. But have you ever heard of a king who got a royal allergy on his very first day? Meet Dodo. In his court, you get more jokes than justice. But watch out. Today, something has entered the jungle that is neither animal nor bird, and it certainly isn't one of Dodo's relatives. Will Dodo save his kingdom or just his own tail? Let's find out.
The jungle mornings were always beautiful, but ever since Dodo became king, the mornings had become a bit more noisy. The sun hadn't even fully risen when Dodo stepped out of his royal cave, which was actually just a very old, dusty bush, and let out a sound that was half laugh and half sneeze. Achoo! Momo, where are you? Dodo shouted, flapping his long ears. Is the king supposed to wake up to dust instead of tea? Momo, the monkey, who was hanging upside down from a nearby tree peeling a banana, swung down instantly. Your Majesty, greetings! Humans drink tea. For you, I have gathered fresh grass washed in morning dew and a special herb that will make your voice roar like a lion. Dodo sniffed the herb and started chewing it skeptically. A lion's voice? Momo, what's wrong with my own voice? Look, is wisdom greater or a donkey? Definitely a donkey. A lion only roars, but I can sing, I can laugh, and sometimes I can even clap my hooves. Momo nodded with a forced smile. Of course, sire. The whole jungle is a fan of your unique wisdom. By the way, the first case in court today is Ellie the elephant. She complains that no tree in the jungle is strong enough to scratch her back properly. Dodo thought deeply, straightened his wooden crown which had slipped over his right ear, and declared, "The solution is simple. Tell Ellie to lie upside down and let all the monkeys play football on her belly. The scratching will happen automatically, and the monkeys will get their exercise. Efficiency, Momo, efficiency." Just as the court proceedings were beginning, a colorful streak appeared in the sky, zigzagging wildly. It was Chatter the parrot, flying so fast that his feathers looked like they were sparking. He crash-landed right on top of Dodo's crown, pushing it down over Dodo's eyes. "It's gone dark! Where did the sun go? Help! I'm blind!" Dodo yelled, stumbling around. "Sire, lift your crown! It's just me!" Chatter gasped, out of breath. "Disaster! A flying demon has been spotted at the northern border. It has 4 spinning arms, it hums with rage, and it has one giant glowing eye that stares into your soul." A deadly silence fell over the court. Benny, the baby deer, who was grazing nearby, dove into a thicket so fast that only his shivering tail was visible. Dodo pushed his crown up and looked at Chatter crossly. "Chatter, you always exaggerate. A flying demon? Is it perhaps the ghost of my grandmother looking for me because I lost her favorite blanket?" "No, sire, it's made of metal, and its belly makes a terrifying sound. Bzz, bzz," Chatter mimicked. Dodo took a deep breath, tried to stand on his hind legs, and proclaimed, "Don't panic. The king is still alive. Momo, grab your slingshot. Chatter, provide aerial surveillance. We shall show this intruder who the real boss of this jungle is." The Triangle Army, Dodo, Momo, and Chatter, set off toward the northern border. Dodo's bravery was such that every time a dry leaf fell, he would jump and try to climb into Momo's arms. "Your Majesty, I thought you weren't afraid," Momo asked, struggling under Dodo's weight. "I am not afraid, Momo. I was simply checking the vibrations of the earth to see how heavy the enemy is. Is wisdom greater or a donkey? Definitely a donkey. If I check from the ground, how will I know what's happening in the dirt?" As they reached a dense patch of bushes, They heard it. Buzz, buzz. Dodo froze. Stop! That sound, it sounds exactly like the bee that bit me last summer. But this bee sounds like it went to the gym. Beyond the bushes lay a strange sight. A human drone, likely belonging to a lost photographer, was lying upside down. Its 4 propellers were still spinning weakly as its battery flickered. Next to it lay a bright blue silk cloth, a scarf that had fallen from a hiker's bag. Oh my grass! It's the flying carpet from my grandmother's stories! Dodo's eyes widened. And that box, that must be the engine of the carpet. Momo cautiously threw a stone at the drone. Upon impact, the drone let out a sharp, dying beep of dee. Dodo scrambled backward and fell into a muddy puddle. Help! It cast a spell on me! My legs are turning to stone! When nothing happened for 5 minutes, Dodo poked his muddy nose out. He saw Momo and Chatter standing right next to the demon. Sire, it's not moving.
It seems your terrifying presence has knocked the wind out of it, Momo said mischievously. Dodo stood up with dignity, shook off the mud, and marched toward the drone. Yes, I gave it the look. Its circuits, its nerves, simply gave up. Dodo tried to poke the drone with his tongue, but as his nose got close, a tiny bit of static electricity gave him a small shock. Ouch! It bites. It's not a demon, it's a lightning donkey. He eventually picked up the blue silk carpet in his mouth and decided to drag the drone back to court. We shall take this to the court and interrogate it. How dare it enter my kingdom without a visa? Back at the clearing, the animals gathered around. Dodo spread the blue silk on a high rock and sat on it. From today, this is my magic throne, and this metal box is my royal bodyguard. Anyone who argues with me will have to answer to its teet sound. The animals were impressed and amused. But just as the sun began to set, Chatter went dead silent. He saw dozens of glowing lights rising into the air. These weren't drones. King Dodo, Chatter's voice trembled, look at the horizon. The lights, they're coming this way. Dodo opened one eye. Chatter, now what? Are the stars falling? No, sire, those aren't stars. They look like giant eyes. Suddenly, a silence fell over the jungle. The birds stopped chirping. Underneath Dodo's blue carpet, the ground began to vibrate. Dodo joked, "Is wisdom greater or a donkey? Definitely a donkey. Even the earth is blushing because I'm sitting on it. That's why it's shaking."
But Momo's face turned pale. He saw a massive metallic shadow emerging from the trees, a giant machine. Humans had arrived to clear the forest. As Dodo turned around, his crown fell off his head. Standing before them was a massive machine, its floodlights shining like the eyes of a prehistoric beast. Dodo swallowed hard and looked at Momo. "Momo, will this one also go teent?" Momo whispered, "Sire, I think running is the only royal decree left." But Dodo stood his ground. He looked at the blue carpet, which was now flapping wildly in the wind. Was it truly magic, or was it the beginning of the end? "Wait!" Dodo shouted. "I am the king, and kings do not run from their own court." But as the machine's heavy buckets slammed into the earth with a thunderous crash, Dodo's bravery wavered. The jungle no longer needed just a funny king. It needed a leader to face this iron ghost. To be continued.